Small Biz America. We're back with Eric Groves from Constant Contact talking about all things email marketing. Eric, I wanted to pick up on something we started during our first segment, subject lines. What have you found helps emails get opened?
Well, that's a great question. There's actually, what you do when you get an email in your inbox is you ask yourself two questions. Do I know the sender, and do I care? And so, it really breaks down into two components. Answering that question of do I know you is the from line. So you want to make sure you're sending from an email address that people recognize and associate with your business.
Okay.
So using, info at number 432 at gmail.com doesn't do you any benefits. Whereas you could use Rothmans at Rothmans NY and knowing that that's the brand that people can respond to and will recognize. So that takes you over to the question of do I care? And that's answered in the subject line. And it's real important to have a call to action in that subject line that tells the person why they should bother to open that email campaign. Simply putting my monthly newsletter as a CPA may not get people to open it. However, if you were to change that around a little bit and say, 2 tips to get audited by the IRS, you're more likely to capture someone's attention and get them to open it and read on. That subject line, if they just say to themselves, oh, I'll get back to this, we know that that's not going to happen in the email marketing world, right? I mean, when you turn that email from bold to regular font, you typically don't get back to things. So you really have to have a call to action that jumps out at them to get them to open it up.
Once it's open, have you found? Well, I wanted to ask you about the content, how to design an effective email communication, and this may vary depending on the business model or the frequency of communication. Tell us about any recommendations you have in terms of what's effective, what makes an effective email communication.
Sure, there are a couple of key things. One is to make sure that at the very top of your email campaign, you're not putting a very large image, like a large logo. Because if you think about it, a lot of the email clients these days have the images turned off. And if you've got a big honking logo at the top, you're filling that space that you could be getting your value proposition across in with a big red X.
Sure.
So, push your content up, push your images down a little bit is one of those key things to getting your emails opened and read. The other thing is really just keeping your content short. It should really just flick the person in the forehead, like we were saying earlier, capture their attention, and then hopefully have a link in it that'll take them to your Facebook page or your website where they can read more about the topic that you're talking about.
Another variable for all business owners that send emails is how often should they send? Do you have any thoughts or insights about that?
Yeah, well, the frequency really depends on the type of business that you're in. There are a lot of, our customers who are religious organizations that will send out a weekly calendar to their audience, and that's fine. What you really want to do is deliver on the expectations that you set when you collected the email address to begin with. But it's suffice it to say, permission is perishable, so you want to make sure that you're communicating at least quarterly with the folks on your list, but most people do it 1 or 2 times per month.
Okay, good. Thanks for that. How do you coach customers, folks that are using your platform, to integrate with social media, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn and the like?
That's an interesting question, and one we're getting at Constant Contact a lot more frequently these days.
I'll bet.
And you think about social media, it's just another way to interact with a group of people. Now, you have to first figure out where your prospective customers and your customers are hanging out. And if they typically are hanging out on a Facebook environment, then you want to make sure that you have a Facebook page for your business. There are a lot of, you have to kind of think about it from the standpoint of how much content, how frequently you have to communicate in order to sort of maintain a presence on a lot of these tools, and then compare that to where your customers reside. But for example, it's very simple to add a sign-up box to your Facebook page so that you can actually collect the contact information of the people that come there that are interested in learning more about what your business has to offer. And then you use email marketing really as a tool to pull them back to you over time, whereas Facebook is a place that they kind of go on their own. So you kind of have to play them all together and figure out where your customers are hanging out.
Okay, good. You've just released a book. Tell us about the book, what we can expect to find inside.
Well, thanks for mentioning that.
The
Constant Contact Guide to Email Marketing came from the fact that we're so focused on education here. We have people that are out in pretty much every major metropolitan city running free seminars on how to build relationships with your customers. And we were fortunate enough to get Wiley Publishing to come and approach us and say, will you guys write the definitive guide on how to do email marketing for small business? So we pulled all that together last year, and it just got released this fall. And it's been fantastic to hear from folks that say it really made a difference in their communication strategy.
How is the book structured, Eric?
The book is structured to really kind of address a lot of the different challenges in email marketing and give you step-by-step instructions on how to build a great list, how to look professional, how to send great content, how to develop content ideas, how frequently you should be sending. It really is soup to nuts, everything you need to know to have a fantastic strategy for marketing your business to your customers.
Excellent. You mentioned building a list, and this is for some of us a mystery. I mean, we complain, oh, my list is only 800, it's only 8,000, whatever the relative numbers are. Do you have any thoughts about how best small businesses can build their list so that they have this relationship capital they can then leverage?
Yeah, one of the things that we typically say at Constant Contact is it's much better to have a list that is a quality list than a list that's a quantity list. Right? You really want to make sure that the people that are receiving your emails want to receive your email. And you do that by collecting contact information and telling the person when you're collecting it what they're going to receive. So for example, one of the tips that we give to retail stores is to put out in a laminate frame a copy of one of your past campaigns that you're real proud of right behind your sign-up book. And that way people know what they're going to get, and they're only sign up for it if it's something that they're going to look forward to receiving.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So what's in the future for email marketing? I mean, where are we headed with the technology of communicating through email?
Well, I think one of the key things that we're seeing is that people want to get relevant information. And the more that you can do to collect their interests, whether it's at the point of the time when they're giving you their email address or by surveying them over time so you can kind of figure out what they're interested in, the more likely you're going to be able to deliver a message that's spot on to their interests. So if I'm a sports store and I have one list, I'm going to look to try and separate my list into people that are interested in skiing versus basketball so that I can send a message about the ski offers that I have or education about skiing and ski products to just those people who are interested in skiing.
Excellent.
So I think that's what we're going to see moving forward is much more sort of granularity in your communications and very targeted messages.
Very good, very good. Thanks so much for joining us. Eric Groves has been our guest. He's the VP of Global Marketing Development at Constant Contact, and for more information, that's www.constantcontact.com.
Small Biz America.